Now today I have some huge things I want to go over. We are going to be getting into some more refined storage automation stuff and a couple of different mods that definitely utilize the refined storage and add to it. And before we do that, we need to talk about how we're going to be able to teleport back and forth to our space station that we're currently in, which is going to be our refined storage networking area. And we need to figure out how we're going to get back and forth without costing experience every time, because at the moment, well, it costs us a little bit of XP. Yeah, it costs about 3 XP every time we travel back and forth. I don't want that to be the case, however. So to be able to fix this, well, we're going to talk about warp plates from the Waystones mod. Now, of course, getting back and forth between our refined storage or space station area in here cost a few levels. It definitely costs a few levels. Cost 3. So what would happen if we just get stuck here, right? I know we have a refined storage, but think if we didn't, or this ran out of power or something, and we'd be stuck here forever. So I need a way to be able to teleport out that doesn't have a cost requirement. And now Waystones mod actually has a way of doing that. And let me explain. Let me show you this. So if we open up our crafting here and we go to Waystones, right? There's warp plates. Now warp plates are very, very cool. So we can make all of this dust, right? But there's some hidden mechanics. So I'm going to make 2 of these, right? So let's go ahead and make 2 of them, because you need 1 to get from one position and 1 to get to another. And so I can demonstrate that by placing them in here. And what you do is you place down your warp plate, and then you need to pull out the flint that it generates inside this one. Now this is linked to this plate. And now this plate over here will also generate one. And now this one is linked to this plate. You can see by the color coordinations up here. I know you can't really read it, but they're color coordinated. So if I put this one inside here, right, it's going to send me to this one. So if I stand on this plate, it's going to teleport me over here. Now, because there's nothing in this one, I can actually stand on here, and as you can see, it won't warp me anywhere. Well, this is great for mob farms. I've used it for so many different things. Mob farms, you can have mobs land on this. You can even send items through. Look at this. It sent the item through. So entities in any form will get sent through, which is fantastic, right? But I've also discovered some new things in other packs that I've played, where if you have more than 1 plate, let's make another warped plate, for example, or let's just do Waystones. It's easier to search it like that. So let's go to make another one, and we're going to place this one next to here, right? Let's say we have a 3x3 mob farm, and we want the warp plates, all the warp plates, to link to a single position, which is this one right here, right? So if you want to do that, and let's say you have a 3x3 area where mobs are dropping in, you can do that. And it's it's not as easy as you might think to just find this out, because it doesn't really show how to do this. But all you need to do, for example, is take this, right? It creates an initial one, which is the free, which consumes the warp dust that you initially put into this, right? But you can actually craft warp dust, more warp dust, and then a flint, right? The things that it exists with. And if you put these in here, it will generate a new one, and you can make copies. So you can make copies of this position and thus put this in here. And then we should have the other one, which is this one, which still links to it, which is the initial one. And now both of these plates will link to the same position. So this is useful for mob farms. It's useful for if you want a bunch of different locations, easy access to a central point, right? So let's say each corridor we want to link to a central point, we can do that. So this is a fantastic way of using them, but they also work cross-dimensionally, and they don't cost to do that. So this is going to be a great way to get from one place to another. So all I need is to take our warp plates, and we'll just take the items inside here. And so, for example, this one, let's go ahead and place this down. This is the yellow. And so I already have the location for it right here. But I am going to need, let's see, this one. So this is the plate I'm going to place in the overworld. So I'm going to place this in here to link it to this one, which I haven't placed yet. But once I do, you'll be able to see. So where do I want to place this? Oh, we can tuck it right over here for right now. I think that's fine. And we need to place this inside, I believe. Yep. And then when we stand here, it should teleport us cross-dimensionally, as you can see, and it doesn't come at a cost of experience. That's the important part. No cost of XP. You can see I'm at 3, and we're at 3 when we get back. So, problem solved. Now let's get into refined storage. Now, one of the big things that I want to talk about is pattern storage and how we're going to be storing patterns from refined storage. Now, there's 2 different mods in here that are really, really big for doing such things. I'll talk about them right here. So we have Reborn storage, which is going to be the main thing I want to get into today. But let's not discount extra storage, because the amount of storage that a netherite crafter can hold is tremendous. It can hold a ton of patterns, but with the Reborn storage, it's kind of an obscure mod that I would really love to just dive into that I haven't played with since 1.12 Minecraft. So I think we're gonna be getting into this. I've already utilized these, as you can see with the iron crafters. We've made these iron crafters. So I don't want to discount these. These are perfect. So extra storage is definitely a great way to go. And you know, it's a single block, whereas this is going to be a multi-block. But I want to utilize Reborn storage here in the space station. Now, I may not have a huge amount of room in the space station, but it is going to be enough to get up at least a few of these. And I think we can use more than one of these because they're going to count as a multi-block for pattern storage and crafting. It'll do the processing for you. Now, the extra storage also does processing. So each time you upgrade these, as you can see, the base speed increases without the need of speed upgrades inside of the initial crafters. And this will do things like, I don't know, craft simple things. For example, you can just craft a single block of cheese, space cheese, right? Or you can, I don't know, you can craft a crafting table. Things like that is what this is going to be used for. So those single crafts, not necessarily processing, which is where I think extra storage is fantastic, right? So if you have a netherite crafter attached to, say, the same block we have here, you're going to have more than 9 slots for patterns that can process things. So I think Reborn storage is definitely the one for crafting. So what are we going to need to get into Reborn storage? It looks like just about everything that we already have, minus a couple of things. We are going to need a super advanced processor. And this is going to require netherite. So I'm going to have to head over and create this pattern. I know this is a little bit more tedious. I could create a pattern crafting grid. So we have a wireless pattern crafting grid. But all I have to do is head over here. I love when I head over here. The FPS is just so fantastic. But we need to find our pattern grid, which is right here. And we'll just say, now that I have this set up, we have to change these all back. So we are working on crafting this, right? So we'll first set up the initial craft, which everything here has a crafting pattern. Let's put a pattern in here. And so we'll create our initial craft, and then this has to be smelted. So that is going to be a process. And now downstairs, which I still don't have an elevator for, but downstairs is technically where all of my grids are at. And I need another one. So an iron crafter should be able to get that crafted up real quick. I just need just another one. Iron blocks. And I think I have everything. There we go. Everything processed at the base. Oh, speaking of this, I know this is really off topic, but I was in the FTB chunks and I accidentally scroll wheeled on this. And I used my scroll wheel. And I noticed you can actually make the chunk loading expire by accidentally scroll wheeling on here. So be careful doing that so you don't like ruin your entire base. But it is kind of a cool feature. If you only want this to stay force loaded on a server for like 3 hours, it'll stay force loaded for 3 hours and then shut off. It's actually kind of a cool feature that you can just scroll wheel. And it says hold Alt to show absolute times. You can see that right there. How cool is that? That is pretty sick. I just wanted to show that real quick since we were talking about chunk loading. So I'm going to place this in. That should hook right into the network. And there we go. I can put that crafting recipe in. And then I need to pop out. All right, so we need to warp back over. And this just needs to go into the crafter. And from this point on, like I'm still going to need to go back and forth for processing crafts, especially because this is our only method of cooking things. But I'm going to be creating an auto crafting recipe for all of the auto crafting multi-blocks. It's kind of funny that we're literally going to be doing this, but it's going to be like crafting Inception here in a minute. But we need some things. We need a crafting frame. We're going to need heat conductors, CPU, crafting CPU, and crafting storage, all for these things. And you can see some of these things require storage parts, and I don't actually know where this, I guess actually we probably didn't need this. This was just for the grids and stuff. Oh boy. See, that just goes to show I'm not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. I guess I really didn't need those things, but we do need these. I don't know if I have a storage parts auto crafted, but every single one of these, yes, all these parts, because they show up in blue, means I have an auto crafting recipe for. And yes, I will have to set up auto crafting for the storage parts. And so there's all of that. So I believe this is ready to go. I have everything except for chests. I also do not have chests automated. We can set this to not exact. Yeah, this one might be a little bit difficult. Is there, so we can convert this. I think this will be fine. We just need to set this so it's not exact. And that will create, hopefully, a plank. You know what? This is one I might have to do by hand. I don't, this is wanting to craft the edified specifically. And so for some of these crafts, when you get into them, this might be a problem you encounter. So let's go to regular oak logs, and we'll create a crafting recipe for that. And then I'll go ahead and grab the planks needed, and we'll make sure it's specific to oak, because I am producing oak. And then we'll create this, and then I'm probably going to have to, let's see. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to create a conversion. I know these chests should work, but just to make sure, I'm going to create a conversion that's going to convert this into a regular chest. A lot of patterns going into this, but that should hopefully work. Now, with all of these components crafted, let's go ahead and sort of make what is going to be sort of the simplest setup for this. To create the smallest Reborn storage, we should be able to handle that quite well. Now, what we're going to need to do is create crafting frames. These are going to go to the outside. Heating conductors go on all of the faces. I guess you can say that's not a corner or edge. And then you're going to have yourself a crafting storage and a crafting CPU. So 1-to-1, it doesn't have to be 1-to-1. You can definitely have fewer crafting CPUs than storage, or more crafting CPUs than storage. Either way, just depends on how big you want to build this. So let's go ahead and get some of these crafted. So Reborn, and I'm going to craft 32 of the frames. And did I not make the actual crafting CPUs? I guess I did not. So I can go ahead and get those ready to craft. Which shouldn't take too long to do. But yes, this is going to make, I think, storage so much better, because there's some crafting recipes that you just don't need to be that fast. And so I prefer to have this than everything else. So let's go ahead and just craft one of each. And then I'll craft one of those, because it's going to take a little bit to get all these crafted up. So there's our frames. There's this. I think the other stuff is processing. And then conductors, we're going to need at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need at least 10 of these, I think, for the small one that I'm about to build. Because I'm probably going to have multiples of these. And I don't know how big I'm going to make them just yet. Because I do want them sort of over here. And I'm going to need some way to get to them. Probably cabling running through the wall or along the wall. Giving it that sort of pipe vibe that, I don't know, some spaceships always have piping running along the wall. I think that'll be pretty good for this area. All right, so we should have just about everything. I don't know why it only crafted 9. There's our last one. Okay, so let's sort of build this so you have an understanding of how it's supposed to be built. So let's go ahead and place this in, just like this. Now, on the bottom here, you are going to want to place a heat conductor. Along the sides, heat conductors. Right? And now in the middle, This is where we're going to have a crafting storage, and then above that, a crafting CPU. I don't know if the order matters on this. And then fill the corners and sides in. Now, don't forget the top and bottom. They also need a heat conductor. So that's one of the more important parts. Place the heat conductor, and we should have a valid multi-block. And as you can see, just this alone, look how much storage is in here. This can hold patterns, and that can fill this entire thing. Pretty awesome. And you can have multiple pages. Well, this is just one page. So if you build this bigger, there will be multiple pages of these. I think this size is plenty, and you can just make multiples of these. If you absolutely want more storage, of course, you can, of course, add more and more and more. I'm going to start off with at least this, and it's going to go somewhere in a corner. Actually, I might incorporate it in here. I don't know if I really want to incorporate it in here, but it does look so cool out in the open. Now that I look at it, it's just like, oh, that is pretty cool. Just need to figure out how to fit this in, and I can like definitely dress it up and put on the outside, make it sort of fit a little bit more with the surroundings. So I moved it back so I have more freedom when I go to decorate around this, and try my best to make it look better. But I'm gonna extend this up one, so I added an extra crafting storage just to show you how much more space you can actually get. Now keep in mind, the more storage you have also limits your crafting CPU when you build it in this method. So remember, CPU is how fast things are going to get crafted. So you're probably going to want to prioritize how fast things get crafted, right? Especially later on. But for right now, I'm not horribly worried about it. So I'm going to continue building this up. And this time, I'm actually making it reach one taller, which will touch the roof, which is what I'm wanting. And then this right here is going to go in the middle. Just needed to make sure to get that wrapped in there. And bam, this should be ready. And now we have an extra page. You can see I have just by adding that one block, I now have 2 full pages of the crafters here. That is a lot of storage, a lot, especially since, I mean, this didn't cost all that much to make. So now here's my plan for decorating this. I'm going to be using these framed blocks, and I'm thinking I can add this along the sides, right? And then up top, also add them. And hopefully this will take, it'll take on the block, just like this, which matches the floor, right? And that's what I want. And then on the outer edge, I want trap doors to cover up the blocks that, well, don't necessarily fit in here 100%. So if I lower all these down, we'll kind of get an idea of what this is all going to look like. And if I put this in, it looks perfect. Actually, I might even take this block right here. Actually, there is a tool. I should probably preface this. I could actually make a hammer real quick. I think a hammer is what pulls the block off. So instead of breaking it, I could probably just do that. And then I need quartz. So I'll just put the same stripping that we have everywhere else along that edge. And yeah, actually that doesn't look half bad sitting there. Almost wonder though if I should definitely add the stairs all around. Now under here it may be a little bit difficult to see, but I am going to go ahead and zigzag some cables along this route because I do need to hook into what we have going on down here. So this just hooks in right to the bottom as if it's a part of the storage system. And let's test this out, right? I guess the best thing to do is let's take the components that we need to craft, right? For the mod itself, and let's put those in, right? And then we'll be able to see the speed and everything else for which this is going to work. So we just pop these in, shift click them in just like that. And then let's make sure they show up. So Reborn storage. And as you can see, they are right here, all of them. And let's go ahead and craft 32 more. And I know that this particular craft is not dependent on crafting itself. This is just waiting on everything else, but it seems pretty instant. I mean, that crafted 6 of them. There's 12. And I think it is literally just waiting on the processing, right? Because it has to make the improved processors. But as far as speed goes, this is going to be plenty fast. Now, keep in mind, you can make these bigger, right? They can, you can expand them. Just keep in mind that the outer edges, so these heating blocks right here, they need to go anywhere that is not a edge or a corner block. So they need to go on the top and the bottom, but they need to be on the faces though that are not on the edges. And that also means the bottom. So yeah, if you make this a 7x7, keep in mind that the 5x5 that's on the inside of the 7x7, that needs to be heating conductors on the sides, including the walls and on the top. But on the inside, you can put, you know, you can put 5 CPUs, you can put 6, you can fill the whole thing with storage. And if you mess up, it'll actually tell you by right-clicking on it exactly where the block is that is messed up in chat. So it's pretty fail-proof. So you should be able to get this set up pretty easily in your world. Now, I definitely have a thing that I still have yet to do on this build out here. And that is getting these massive wings a little bit bigger, because at the moment they are just not the size that they need to be. And so I need to get them to at least this point up here. Once I get one wing built, I can definitely copy it. And then it also needs to extend down to the bottom. That's if we're going to be keeping up with the Deep Space Nine sort of theme that's going on here. I'm thinking about pulling this up a little bit further. It definitely needs a slower curve. The problem is curves in Minecraft are really hard to make look good. So I kind of think I have a curve that is working here. It is very difficult, in my opinion, to make curves that sort of fit when you're doing it freehand here. There used to be a tool in RF Tools that was called the, what was it, compiler? I think it was a compiler. That would allow you to basically take circles and flip them on their head. So I would have probably taken this disc and I would have flipped it on its y-axis, I believe. Yeah, that way I would have been able to have this round disc exactly the same, but turned on its side. Yeah, that would have been a lot better. But I think this curve works. I think this curve is going to kind of work. It's not perfect by any means, but it kind of has that slow curve that it had. And then definitely is overarching. And then I need to sort of repeat the same thing exactly the way it is, but upside down on the bottom. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Ignore the cobble. We're going to end up copying and pasting this same thing once we get this full thing built. And this also includes adding the depth that this is supposed to have, right? So this does start off with this very chunky sort of like layer here that very quickly feeds back in and becomes skinny over time. But I think this is going to definitely fit into this thing. So yeah, this is how we're going to finish out the exoskeleton of this thing. I mean, it's coming together a little bit better than I actually anticipated. So as you can see down here, I have the frame. I'm sort of framing things out a little more because I know that the shape of, like, the overall shape of this thing is a little bit thicker than what I'm doing, but I mean, this is Minecraft and I'm trying my best to build out shapes. With this, I'm going to be filling this in with another block. It's going to be dark here, and then it's going to be actually be lighter up here, I think. But this is still going to have this straight quartz that I have going through the whole thing. I don't know. This is my own design thing right here, but I'm loving it, especially with these open fins. And it's going to turn out pretty good, especially when we use the copy paste gadget to paste these all in. It's going to be super seamless once this is done. But I got to get this whole one done and then copy the whole thing on the bottom. And I think this ship is really going to pop at that point. You know what? For what it's worth, I made the bottom a little bit smaller, and I actually kind of like that a little bit more. And this whole thing sort of fits together. It's like this big ring, and we have this loop that goes up at the top. I kind of want to add some lights to the top up there, but so far this looks fantastic. Like, now I got to copy all this. So how I'm going to do that? That is a huge ring to copy, by the way, but it is all doable. So let's go ahead and yeah, that's gonna be, I'm gonna have to set some markers in order to get this fully copied here. We can copy up to, it looks like this block over here. So I'm going to need this all cleared out. And here we go again, using the copy and paste tool. Of course, I might actually use some slabs or something over here. I don't know. And then on the bottom, I've got to go all the way down past the outer edge over here. And I want to make sure this is all sort of symmetrical. I'm going to have to make sure we pull out all the way down to this to be able to capture this whole thing. And then, of course, it's just going to be trial and error to adjust all of the settings for every copy and paste. I wish it showed the model. I think Direwolf was working on the models, like it actually showing a render of the thing you're about to paste. I know right now it just shows the bounding box. And I know that's a plan to get that fixed in this version. But yeah, for right now, I should be able to put this in copy mode and then click here. As you can see, you can copy a huge area. Like, I could technically copy this entire ship and share it with you guys via a paste bin where you can actually paste this in. And then shift right click here. I think that's pretty good, actually. It's not centered. So what I might do, put this out one more, I think. And then that looks to be pretty centered into the middle of that box. Yep, I think this will work. Now, now to copy and paste this. Oh boy, that's going to be interesting, figuring out exactly where this can be pasted. Good thing we can undo and redo. That's the important part. So I'm going to show you my struggles. Unfortunately, you can only go 16 blocks down in the position. So I'm thinking 1, 2. Let me try and actually get this all the way down. So I need to paste this on this particular block that is right here, right? And I need to go down like 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try 3. It might actually be 4. But I need to line this up so that way this is the position. You can see it's already set to 16. But I've got to get this moved out and then moved out this way. And it's really hard to see this. So what I can do is I can just actually open the menu and hit anchor. And now that'll allow me to see a little bit better. So I need to go one back for sure. And thankfully I can do that while anchored. So one back. I think I need to go back one more. And I don't think this is exactly the place, but what I can do is I can go ahead and let's see. Do I have enough materials? I can go ahead and place. Wow, that was actually right on the money. Oh my gosh. I don't think I could get any better than that. Was that right on the money though? I don't think so. I think we need to go one up. I think that was one lower than what I need. But as you can see, I still don't have enough items in my inventory to be able to fully do this. So let's undo. Thankfully, we can undo. That is so nice. And right, this needs to go one up. So shift right click and bring that one up. And then let's make sure I have enough deep slate to do this. Now, the good thing is, if I don't originally have enough deep slate, what I can do is, or any of the other materials, I can paste it in right now. So long as it's anchored, we're good, right? It looks like I need more of the deep slate. So let's do cobbled deep slate. What I can do is I can right click again, and that will finish up the rest of the deep slate. And that's in. That's in. That looks perfect. Now, of course, there is some mess up back here, but I can just get rid of that. Just like so. And I can keep repasting, right? I can keep repasting until everything is just the way I want it and fixed. And there we go. All of that work that I did on this, that probably took me an hour and a half or so, I was just able to easily paste in. That is fantastic. I mean, here we go. Just like that. All of these are done. 100% done. That is fantastic. I definitely want to get some lights added to them. And then I think these are going to look fantastic. Yeah. Wow, what an addition to the space station. This is been a really fun build for sure. I mean, just look at this thing all lit up. Oh my god, it just looks so good. It's gonna look even better once I have all of my crafting stations all on the 4 sides. As you can see, I even finished out the roof part of it. Oh, it's just fantastic, man. When things come together, man, they just come together. I have noticed I probably shouldn't have done this. I don't know what happened here. I guess I was building something out. Oh, did I accidentally on some of these go? You know what? I did. It is a little bit off, but I don't think anybody will ever notice fully, except for me telling you here. But I think all of the copy and pastes were one off. You know, just one off. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine that it was one off. Because yeah, it added to here, which means that technically this is probably different than this one. You know, it doesn't really seem like it. Definitely is. Yeah. Oh man, they are all pushed. These are all pushed in just one compared to these. This one right here. Is it worth redoing all? You know what, it might be. So yeah, just because I know you guys are going to have a world download of this, I want to make sure that this is like the best possible setup here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this down right here, and I'm just going to use the same method that I use for all the other ones just to paste this in. Just paste one in. Yeah, I've got to tear it back down, but it's kind of a pain because deep slate does not like to be broken. And I don't want to tear up my main part of my spaceship. So yeah, I'm gonna have to hand break all of these blocks. So I hope this fixes everything. Bloop. And yes. Okay, so now this is in line with all the others. Now to get the lights put in. I did some finishing touches up on the top of the peaks, and well, I think overall, this looks absolutely fantastic, and is definitely going to be very, very useful moving forward. Guys, today's episode was definitely jammed, packed, full of information, and I hope you guys learned something today. Of course, if you did, let me know what you learned down in the comments below. Or if there's something that you would like to let me know about, you can always comment down there as well. I love reading your comments, and definitely see some really awesome ideas, such as last comment section, I definitely read about potentially making the whole thing rotate with Create. That would be insane. Really cool as insane. But of course, guys, thank you so much for all of your support. And I think it's time to thank the supporter of today's video. Now, all in all, I want to give a huge shout out to the supporter of today's video. And of course, that is going to be a huge thanks. Boop, going to Joss. Thank you so much for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member. Now, Discord is just one of many ways to support. Actually, just recently, you may notice on the YouTube videos, there is a join button. The join button also gets you the exact same perks as if you were to become a premium member on Discord or subscriber on Twitch. And there's also a thanks button as well, if that's another way you would like to support my channel. The join button is just like a member. It's YouTube members. You get access to exclusive content, not only here on YouTube, but also through the Discord whenever you do link your YouTube to your Discord account. So be sure to check that out. I'd really appreciate it. If that's an easier way to support me, then there's another option. Guys, I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoyed. Of course, I'll see you in the next episode. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.